When I was 13, my mom died. My father had already abandoned us. So, I was left with my grandmother. My grandmother was also a very mean lady. When I got back from school, she used to make me do all the dishes and cleaning. My days were tiring and nights were haunted. After living this miserable life for 1 year, I decided that it could not stay like this anymore. So, one night I was awake in my bed. I kept thinking about what I should do to make my life any better. Next morning after school, when I got back from school and after doing all the home clean shit, I called my aunt who lived upstate. My aunt was very generous and always wanted to adopt me. She had no children of her own and she loved me since I remember her, but my grandma did not let her take me after Mom's death. And the reason for keeping me was very obvious as she treated me, you know. So, Aunt Lily was very excited to get my call. She was very polite and a beautiful person. She rushed to Grandma's house later that night to pick me up. My grandma hated her for taking me and kinda tried to stop her from doing that. But I was so willing to move out that she had to let me go. She loved me like her daughter. And I was a princess in her house. I gained my lost confidence. I could concentrate more on my studies and my art. Everything was so normal. And the next 6 years passed with peace. It was a New Year's night. When I got back home that night, it was very late. After putting my key on the hanger, when I was going to my room, she called me out. I went to her. It was very strange to be awake so late. She said, "Happy New Year, my child." I hugged her and went back to my room. I was so tired that I fell asleep the instant I hit the hay. Next morning when I woke up, I went to the kitchen for some water. I noticed she was not reading her book with her tea. It was very unusual as in these 6 years she had never missed her morning tea. So, I called her out loud. But it was nothing but silence. I went to her room. She was lying on her bed. I tried to wake her up, but she was silent. She had never been so quiet. I was very frightened. I called an ambulance. It took 10 minutes for the ambulance to reach our place. But those 10 minutes were like ages and so long. Like time was frozen. The nurse checked but there was no pulse. My favorite Aunt Lily left me that day all alone. I have so many good memories with her.